Some of the best comic book stories show us what happens when our heroes become absolute monsters. I'm Adam Andrews with Top 10 Nerd, and this is the top 10 scariest DC Comics superhero variants. Let me know in the comments what your favorite scary indie comic books are. I'm looking for more reading material here. Thanks. Number 10, Mazahs. On Earth 3, things are kind of backwards. Power and strength reign supreme, and those who are superheroes and villains in the Prime Universe are supervillains and heroes respectively in Earth 3. Alexander Luthor, for example, was the most powerful superhero on Earth, going by the name Mazahs, which is Shazam backwards. Now, he's technically a good guy, but his power is what I find truly terrifying. Mazahs has the ability to absorb the powers of any superpowered being that he took the life of through his lightning. Using this, he gained all the powers of Bizarro, including invulnerability, self-sustenance, Arctic vision, flame breath, and kryptonite immunity. He got the powers of the Firestorm Matrix from Deathstorm, which are too many to list, the Speed Force abilities from Johnny Quick, and the powers of Hawkwing. While the characters he fought were arguably worse than him, no one from Earth 3 is really good, and he is absolutely terrifying, when he is powered up, of course. Number 9. Bump in the Night. For starters, DC's House of Horror is basically a collection of short stories featuring different characters. They are all equally interesting and horror themed. The possession of Billy Batson and Last Laugh stories are particularly interesting, but for today's video, I think I want to talk about the very first one. Bump in the Night. This short story follows Martha Kent on the night Kal-El arrives on Earth. Jonathan Kent has gone out to explore what exactly caused a big bang and a trail of smoke on the Kent's farm, but he isn't coming back. As Martha worries about where her husband has gone to, she goes back inside the house, but Martha starts hearing bumping and thumping coming from upstairs in the house. Suddenly, a demonic humanoid child crashes through the ceiling and begins attacking her. She tries to run to the barn, but fiery beams of energy fire from the creature, blowing up the barn. She takes refuge in her truck only for the creature to land on the hood, shrieking. It throws the truck across the yard and Martha gets out wounded only for the truck to explode. The creature flies away with the symbol of an S emblazoned on his chest. If you are looking for comic book content, this is the place to find it, so hit us with a subscribe to stay inundated with tons of videos about all your favorite heroes. Thank you. Number 8. Speed Demon from the Amalgam Universe. The Amalgam Universe, where the worlds of Marvel and DC collide, is honestly an amazing place. We get all kinds of crazy mashups like Wolverine and Batman, but while that is incredibly awesome, the one I think may be better for this list would be Blaze Allen, the Speed Demon, or basically the Flash mashed together with Ghost Rider. Yes, it's as crazy as it sounds, and honestly, it's more totally awesome than it is scary, but Ghost Rider is already fast with his motorcycle, so imagine if he didn't even need that. The best part of this is that his cousin, Wally West, becomes another version of Speed Demon, and the two of them work together. It's not something that I thought I needed, but I absolutely did need it. Number 7. Witch-marked Wonder Woman. Years ago, a 12-year-old Diana Prince came upon a ritual being performed at a crossroads in Themyscira to the goddess of magic and witches, Hecate, by her followers. Diana gets grabbed by the followers and Hecate brands her with a witch mark, and she vowed to Hippolyta that one day she would return to use her witch mark to take over the world. Once things start popping off in the 2018 Witching Hour crossover, Earth's magic is beginning to disappear and Hecate is obviously to blame. Hecate activates her witch mark, 5 women who have been branded, including Diana. The witch marked power Diana possesses could rip the world apart and tear holes in reality. It's honestly very insane, and it only gets crazier as she gains the power of the other witch marked. Now I glossed over quite a bit for the sake of time, so I suggest you read the story. Number 6. Dawnbreaker. Now this is like a mix of evil Green Lantern and evil Bruce Wayne. Technically, it's just Bruce Wayne, but after the passing of his parents that fateful night, the young Bruce Wayne comes into possession of a Green Lantern ring. We have seen Bruce Wayne wield a Green Lantern ring before, but this is the dark multiverse. Bruce has an unbelievably strong will, and using his powerful will, he is able to override the programming of the Lantern ring, allowing him to use it to take lives. He creates monstrously terrifying green light constructs and uses them to not just ruthlessly battle criminals, but anyone who stands in his way, including James Gordon, other Green Lanterns, and the Guardians of the Universe. Number 5. Superwoman. While Superwoman is technically an alternate version of Wonder Woman, originally she was actually the Lois Lane from Earth 3, who on this world was seemingly an Amazon, as she wielded the lasso of submission instead of truth, which is capable of forcing others to do her bidding and forcing them to love her. But this Superwoman had abilities that were more like a Kryptonian's. She was capable of not only everything Wonder Woman could do, but she could fire beams of red-hot energy from her eyes, and she could fly. She created an incredibly toxic love triangle between Ultraman and Owlman of the Crime Syndicate of America, and even had a child with Owlman, but promised to Ultraman that it was his. This was also while she was having another affair with Alexander Luthor. Damn girl, keeping pretty busy, huh? Yikes. Number 4. Raven from the Last 52 Multiverse. The Batman who laughs comes from the Dark Multiverse, which is the flip side of the regular multiverse, composed of worlds where nightmares become real. All the worst case scenarios actually came to be on these worlds. During the final battle between the Batman who laughs and Wonder Woman, Laughs summons different heroes turned villains from across the Dark Multiverse to help him, and among the various characters is a version of the Teen Titans led by a version of Raven who gave in to her father Trigon, who corrupted both her and her Titans into twisted, powerful versions of themselves. Raven herself becomes a red-skinned, armor-clad demon. She actually looks kind of awesome, but she is undeniably evil and ultimately quite terrifying. Number 3. Fernus. Before the Martians became the Martians, they were an incredibly violent and powerful race called the Burning. The Guardians of the Universe experimented on the Burning and put genetic blocks in place to make them afraid of the fire they used as their most powerful weapon. Now fast forward, after the Justice League was trapped and taken down in Obsidian Age Atlantis, John Johns blamed himself for his friend's passing because his fear of fire completely overtook him. He recruits Scorch to help him overcome this fear, and he would use his telepathy to help her deal with her own problems. Unfortunately, in doing this, he also broke the genetic blocks, allowing John to become the incredibly dangerous Fernus, with all his original powers boosted in potential, especially his telepathy, plus an insane level of pyrokinesis. Number 2. Ultraman. In case you haven't figured out the theme of Earth 3, everyone here is just bad from birth. Ultraman was born on the dying Krypton to Jor-Il, who was able to secure a life pod for his incredibly powerful son, who he saw as his best chance of revenge. While in his life pod, Kal-Il was given the ideology of becoming the strongest possible being, eschewing all weakness in himself and in others. His rocket crash landed in Smallville, right through the home of the dysfunctional couple Johnny and Martha Kent, who he forced to be his parents until he was 7 years old, when he took their lives and burned their home to the ground. He took the name Ultraman, took over the Earth, and created the Crime Syndicate of America. Now, unlike Superman, Ultraman actually gets more powerful from kryptonite, and the sun is what makes him weaker, which is fine because he will literally just move the moon to block out the sun. And in at number 1 is Vampire Batman. In the Elseworlds Batman and Dracula trilogy, Batman goes up against vampires who have turned Gotham into their home, and then eventually Dracula himself. In the first novel, Red Rain, the hero wipes out the vampires and Dracula, although he is transformed into a vampire himself. Which means we get to see Batman take on crime using the powers of a vampire in the next novel, Bloodstorm. He does his bestest to resist the darker aspects of being a vampire, but that all goes kaput when Batman lashes out and drains the Joker's blood after the Joker de-lifed Catwoman. Batman has Alfred and Gordon stake him, putting Batman into a catatonic state, a state that he is revived from in Crimson Mist, the third novel, when criminals took over Gotham in his absence. But he is almost completely animalistic now thanks to the isolation. A bloodthirsty vampire Batman quickly wipes out most of his enemies in a very bloody form, drinking their blood in the process until he is finally put to rest by Alfred, Gordon, Two-Face, and Killer Croc, who all go with him to the grave. There you have it, terrifying versions of your favorite DC heroes. I'm Adam Andrews, this is Top 10 Nerd, ta-ta and farewell, nerds.